8 p.m. news on STV. One headline: 2018 presidential election in Cameroon. Special polling stations shall be created for internally displaced persons to vote, while chiefdoms and military barracks would no longer serve as voting centers. Despite tension in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, Elekam officials affirm all is being taken care of for the safety of voters come October 7. This and more make up this Monday news edition. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on this complete English newscast on STV, broadcasting live from Douala in Cameroon. Polling stations in traditional palaces and military barracks shall be taken out and established where Cameroonians can vote freely. This was disclosed during a working session between Elekam and some accredited members of the diplomatic corps. Today's meeting in Yaoundé was aimed at keeping all abreast with measures put in place to ensure free and fair elections while providing safety to voters, especially persons in the northwest and southwest regions. Eno Abrams Egbe, president of the Electoral Council, also said some polling stations shall be regrouped into polling centers in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, and special voting centers will see the light in areas where internally displaced persons have gathered so that they can equally participate. However, with the electoral law excluding refugees and internally dislodged persons during elections in Cameroon, a civil society activist suggests a mixed team of election observers in the northwest and southwest could help eliminate fraud. Harry Wana tells us more.
Suspense looms in the atmosphere on what mechanism would the electoral body put in place come October 7 to permit internally displaced persons and Cameroonian refugees residing in neighboring Nigeria as a result of the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest region of voting age exercise their civic rights.
Il n'y a pas de disposition en tout cas la loi électorale, notamment le code électoral qui concerne.
There is no measure on the electoral code concerning refugees and internally displaced persons. The Electoral Code did not take that into consideration. Article 45 and 46 basically talks about who is eligible to vote and nothing about the voting rights of a Cameroonian refugee or internally displaced person.
Concernant les personnes déplacées ou les personnes réfugiées.
In such a crisis period faced in the southwest and northwest regions, only the military and civil servants, according to the Electoral Code, can exercise their voting rights anywhere.
La loi évoque la possibilité de voter pour des militaires qui se sont déplacés de leur lieu d'inscription à un autre lieu le jour, n'est-ce pas, du vote, ou les fonctionnaires.
A shortcoming, no doubt, on the part of those parading the political corridors as lawmakers of the country who were short-sighted of an event of this magnitude the country is today facing.
On peut très bien voir que dans la précipitation, parce qu'on demandait un code électoral, nous a sorti un truc.
We can clearly see that because we had pressured the government for an electoral code, they had to give us an incomplete document which doesn't meet the aspiration of Cameroonians. Our parliamentarians need to be cautious on the content of a document before they are adopted. Experts should be consulted to avoid such an embarrassing situation. Nevertheless, civil society activists insist a mixed control team to supervise the elections in the northwest and southwest regions will help eliminate fraud during election day.
Il va falloir vraiment un contrôle minutieux parce que la situation actuelle dans le sud et le nord-ouest pourrait être une situation favorable aussi à la fraude.
The die is cast for the election bell to continue ringing, for only the brave can wear the crown.
Meantime, Catholic bishops under the banner of the National Episcopal Conference have told Christians to respect the October 7 date and vote willfully, the one whom they believe can bring the change they want. This is contained in a 6-page document published last August 24th. Henry Wana once again.
The wish of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, just like that of every Cameroonian of goodwill, is to see the smooth holding of the October 7 presidential election in transparency. in a 6-page document of 17 points published on August 24 by Archbishop Samuel Kleda on behalf of the National Episcopal Conference, the Church clearly recognizes how important this upcoming election is to the political spectrum of the nation, given that the country is facing socio-political upheavals in the northwest and southwest regions, insecurity in the far north region from the Boko Haram sect, as well as insecurity in the east region as a result of the political unrest in neighboring Central Africa. It provides room for Cameroonians of voting age to choose willingly which of the 9 candidates gunning for the top job could possibly wipe off their tears and give them reasons to smile again, living comfortably as Cameroonians in a country where there shall no longer exist corruption, unemployment, and many other social ills. However, the Church calls on the media in both the private and public sectors to respect the norms of the profession. During this delicate period of the nation, Christians in whatever denomination are encouraged to exercise their civic responsibility, for every vote counts in this decisive period of the nation. Meanwhile, a call for the electoral process to be fair are all points highlighted in this document, encouraging Cameroonians and the government for a successful presidential election. It should be noted that the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon has it as a tradition every electoral year to encourage Cameroonians of voting age to go to the polls and cast their vote to whatever party of their choice. After all, change in a political circle starts from the ballot box.
Akere Muna is the best of all presidential candidates, words of Abiba Issa, UPC national president, who gave her party support to Akere Muna of the Popular Front for Development, PDF. The come-together took place over the weekend in Yaoundé. More with Peter Sosi.
Barely weeks after her candidacy for the October 7 presidential election was rejected by Elekam, Habiba Issa has thrown her weight behind Barrister Akere Muna, flag bearer of the Popular Development Front. Within a thorny socio-political context, the leader of one of the UPC factions believed that an Anglophone should be given a chance to tackle Cameroon's growing challenges.
Aujourd'hui, après 60 ans, du pouvoir par les francophones, il est temps qu'on donne le pouvoir aux anglophones.
After 60 years of power by francophones, time has come for an Anglophone to rule because they are a minority and should not be marginalized. Akere Muna is an Anglophone and a statesman who has value. The people must understand that Anglophones too should enjoy the cake. The Alliance of Progressive Forces is also another party that has sealed a pact with the visionary of the Now movement. The call of its president, Ali Sadio, is resounding.
Mesdames et messieurs, si l'âme
Ladies and gentlemen, the immortal soul of Cameroon is here to accompany Akere Muna in this laudable, illustrious and patriotic step towards the new republic.
Dans cette marche illustre, dans cette marche patriotique vers la nouvelle république, alors tout est accompli.
In all, 10 political parties have endorsed Akere Muna for the Unity Palace tool, a move which to the candidate is remarkable.
In Cameroonians that we are on the move, we are ready. We have been joined by the oldest, one of the oldest parties in Africa, the oldest in Cameroon since 1948. They have joined us because they know that since 1960, this country has never been really independent. They have been fighting for it. So we are joining them, they are joining us. We are joining Cameroonians. We are waking up for a future, for our children, for our grandchildren. We are taking our country back. And Mr. Biya should be scared because his days are numbered.
The renowned jurist, who is bent on taking the country towards a new republic, remains upbeat that Cameroonians must come together to make this dream come true.
The Center for Human Rights and Democracy has revealed over 400,000 people have been displaced within the northwest and southwest regions due to the Anglophone crisis. In its recent report, the rights group says that 128 towns and villages have been hit by the prevailing violence. Peter Sosi.
Over 400,000 people displaced across the northwest and southwest regions as a result of the Anglophone crisis, the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa has revealed. These migrating persons, as of August 25, 2018, have reached 411,358 within the restive regions, with 269,000 in the southwest and 141,000 in the northwest region. Out of 128 affected localities, the report indicates that 92 are severely touched, with 63 in the southwest and 29 in the northwest region. The rights group says the deepening crisis has been accelerated by arson attacks on private homes, and there is urgent need to stabilize the situation before it gets out of hand. The Anglophone crisis has metamorphosed since the end of 2017 into a deadly armed conflict between pro-independence fighters and government troops, casting a dark shadow on school resumption and the upcoming presidential elections. Others have left the restive regions to safer regions in the country and neighboring Nigeria.
Cameroon is a homeland for drugs, and a great part seized was meant for local consumption. Issa Chiroma Bakari at a press conference in Yaoundé this Monday told media men that more than 12,000 youths under the age of 15 have used drugs, and 10% is the rate at which drugs are consumed daily. Minister Chiroma Communication Boss equally revealed that 21% of the country's population has come in contact with hard drugs, with cannabis being at the top, followed by tramadol and cocaine. In education, 1 week to the 2018-2019 academic year, preparations in Bamenda is still very slow. Stores have been filled with books and uniforms, and traders remain optimistic for brighter days ahead. God Joy Defi reports.
With 1 week left to school resumptions, the attitude of parents in Bamenda towards purchasing school needs still remains indifferent as the days go by. One would expect that at such a time, the market be jam-packed with people purchasing school needs, but the reverse is the case.
The business is not moving. I'm just doing it because it's my work, not because of business. Just feel there for the one I make to keep for business. Like for before, like 3 years ago, by that time, you want to come here by now. You don't have time to even stand here for some second. A lot of people will be coming in, but it's because of the crisis. That's why things are so difficult in Bamenda now.
Last time, we have been using just a month to sew uniforms, but this one now is just a week. We have not been sewing uniform. I don't know why. Whether parents are not able to send their children again to school, or is due to difficulties, I don't know. So we have been sewing different kinds of dresses and putting. I also told my children that I will be sewing different kinds of uniform and be putting. Maybe it will attract the parents to come.
Now like this, as places are passing like this, everybody is not able to come and buy. They are not even selling.
However, some parents seem to have awoken from slumber, knowing that their children have barely 1 week to return to school.
For this period of time, we have actually have some command that we are making sandals, and students are really coming up to make sandals, but not that way as compared to previous years. So, but as time is going by, maybe close to the opening period, students are coming and making their command.
One thing characterizing this period is parents exhibit fear, waiting on who will take the front role in the purchase of school needs, so the crowd follows, a move that makes back-to-school preparations difficult and slow.
We talk about children and holidays. Minors particularly are exposed to the dangers of the road, trying to make money in order to assist their parents for the next academic year. How do these kids hawking in Cameroon's economic capital cope? John Paul Sama tells us.
The phenomenon of street hawking is gaining grounds in major streets across the country and taking a twist in a different dimension, with children as young as 10 years sent to the streets to hawk. This is the sad picture that reigns in the economic capital, where these kids are on a daily basis exposed to ills like rape, kidnap, amongst others, not leaving out the fact that their rights are being violated by those who send them out to carry out such activities. In most cases, these children carry around things like biscuits, boiled groundnuts, bitter cola, whose load at times are unbearable, and worst of it all is the fact that A minor is sent to the streets to sell drugs that they understand nothing about or how it is administered, leaving many to wonder the type of irresponsible person who put them through this ordeal. To these kids, they have been obliged by their guardians to sell on the street in order to help them pay their school fees when the academic year resumes. And this young man also adds that in a day he can make over 1,500 francs CFA, and he gives his mom. To some city dwellers like this man, most parents send their children to hawk on the streets because of lack of finances, and as a means to get them to contribute in their welfare, knowing in the back of their mind that it is a risky process. According to Article 32 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child has the right to be protected from performing any work that is likely to be harmful to his health, education, or development. But most parents or guardians ignore this to the detriment of the child's well-being. But as most school of thought will put it, they are helping their folks during hard times.
Let's get news out of Cameroon with VOA.
It's harvest time at the Hanbit Agricultural Training Center. It was established in 2015 by South Korean peacekeepers of the UN mission in Bor, South Sudan. The students are enrolled in a 3-month course to learn the skills they'll need to run a profitable farm business.
It is something good because the knowledge that we have acquired here, we are going to do it there in the community. Because when we will be delivered here, we are going to open up our farms, we dig and we cultivate our crops. Therefore, if we sold those crops, we are going to earn money, and that is the self-employment.
The students have cultivated a fast-growing species of maize and a variety of other crops, including celery and cucumbers. They learned irrigation technologies and how to set up greenhouses.
Now we are farmers. We planted some crops that gave us a good yield. It's not like before. The peacekeepers have really helped us here in South Sudan. With this training, we can help develop South Sudan. Each of us will go and farm in different villages and counties to help building the country.
Aid groups say almost 2/3 of South Sudanese will need food aid this year to stave off starvation and malnutrition blamed on famine and the civil war.
Conflict only brought poverty, but agriculture can bring welfare of the people. You can see that the communities are now working together here in Hanbit. So it's a sign that working together as a community through agriculture can eradicate conflicts and hunger at the same time.
The Hanbit Agricultural Training Center was established to build vocational skills, facilitate development, and foster reconciliation. Faith Lapidus, VOA News.
Sports football, Aiding Sport of the Lekier, Lion Blessé of Frutoni, Panther of Day and Unisport of Bafang have all booked a ticket for the semi-finals of the Cup of Cameroon. Aiding Sport beat League One champions Coton Sport of Garoua by 2-1 in the top clash of these quarter-finals. John Paul Sama.
It looked a daunting task for Coton Sport of Garoua, who have succeeded to beat Aiding Sport of the Lekier just once in their 6 previous meetings. But the tide turned quickly in their favor when talismanic captain Dauda Kamilu put the Cottonites in front with a coolly converted penalty from the spot. The boys of the Lekier fought back from a goal down to get the equalizer and pushed on for the winner to book a spot at the semi-final of the Cup of Cameroon.
pense qu'on est bien parti pour atteindre notre objectif. Et je félicite.
A win which the heading technical bench appreciates thanks to the brilliant contribution of its players.
Et pour chuter, vraiment, je félicite mes joueurs qui ont fait un match idéal.
The MTN Elite One champions now have to prepare for the challenges of next season. Over in Yaoundé, 2 goals from Richard Eyebe and Hev Mbida were able to give Lion Blessé of Futuni the victory over Tonekara Club. Lion Blessé of Futuni seized every provided opportunity to punish the poor finishings from their opponent, hitting them with lightning bolt counters. Union Sportif of Douala, on the other hand, succumbed to the pressure of Panther of Day after regular playtime, losing to the surprise package at this stage. Renaissance of Gumu saw their journey to the finals coming to a premature end as they lost to Unisport of Bafang by a solitary goal to 0. 4 clubs now have their eyes fixed on the golden prize as Heading Sport of the Lake, Lion Blessé of Futuni, Panther of Day and Unisport of Bafang are all looking to stand tall come the last day of play.
John Paul Samar wrapping up this 8 p.m. news edition on STV. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is definitely another day.